esports, we are still at the beginning, and giving context to data with super complex technology and stats and insights can really help doing that.
A clear shift is now happening. We're going to be taking our first look at Group B, and the matchup is a very interesting one. We have a team in NIP that already knows their destiny for TI, so we don't know how serious they are going to be taking this tournament, and their opponent is quite serious, very literally.
Can I get the most eye roll
Wow.
possible?
You are ready for fatherhood, my friend. That's all I got to say.
That's what I've been saying. So, Nahas, when we actually do talk about this matchup, I feel like one of the first things that was said when we had an opportunity to talk about all of the teams, didn't matter what group we were talking about, everybody said, okay, like you look at a team that already has done the work of making sure they have a road to TI secured, have already punched that ticket. What's it going to be like when they actually do play here? Is it going to be no pressure, they can go all out, or is it going to be one of those situations where you roll into class and you haven't done your homework yet?
I think it's, again, if it were a lot of other teams, they are already mathematically assured a spot at TI is NIP, but Peter, when you look at especially what Optic did last season, they won this event. They came in, rolled in afterward, finished second to VP at ESL 1 Birmingham, really established a lot of momentum going into TI, and I would not be surprised if they're going to take this event very seriously and try to do the same thing this season.
Something that we definitely do want to keep in our minds, right? I also do want to take an opportunity here to talk about all the teams in Group B. Tsunami, what do we think of some of the other squads? Obviously, it's going to start off with that Sirius versus NIP matchup, but what do we think of some of the other boys?
Yeah, so Sirius, they just did a roster change. They're one of these random China stacks that show up, which oftentimes have a lot of potential, like Serenity last year. Don't know what to make of them. Mineski had, Southeast Asia in general had a very, very poor showing at the Disneyland Major. And so I kind of lost a lot of faith in that region. So I would oftentimes consider them to be the favorite against Complexity. But after seeing their performance at the last DPC event, I'm not as encouraged. So I would be shocked if it goes 2-0 either way. I think it's going to be very close. And Complexity, they have been grinding it out. They've been doing these online tournaments like the We Play Tug of Wars and stuff like that. And I have more confidence in them now than I did maybe 2 or 3 months ago when they were still shuffling around people. They have Tavo now, which I think is an excellent roster addition.
Absolutely.
And so I have a lot of confidence in them moving forward.
Okay, so big fulcrum shift in a matchup that we're going to be rounding out the day with, but we can really start to put our focus on that first matchup of Group B that's coming up right around the corner. First, we need to let the teams take the stage and actually give you just a little bit of knowledge on how they did get here as well.
Ninjas in Pyjamas.
But let's deep dive right now on Sirius. Let's really start to talk about them, Nahas.
So Sirius is a team, it is a China stack that we haven't seen before, but when you start looking at these player names, this is 2 out of the 5 players from eHome that won the Bucharest minor and finished in the top 6 at the CQ Major earlier this year. ASD, their mid-position player, and Tian Ming, their 4-position support. And you look at the last 4 games that eHome played at Chongqing, ASD beat Mid-1 twice in the mid-roll and drew with Sumail twice. This guy has some serious technical chops. The thing that really gives me pause is that we've seen this movie before. Sylar came into this season with a stack in Aster with XXS, Boboka, and Q that everybody thought was going to be a serious contending team and did absolutely nothing. And I think Sylar personally, his stock both across Dota and specifically in the Chinese region has fallen a lot after that performance with Aster. And that leaves a lot of people questioning this setup here. You've got, along with those 2 players from him, you got Inflame at the 3 role who showed what he can do at TI7, had a great performances on Batrider and Nature's Prophet in that tournament. and him at the 5 role, who had some success with Ehome back in 2017. These are all players that have some pedigree and have known success at this level. But again, after what we saw with Aster, it's really hard to have confidence in just the name power alone.
Yeah, and that's the same thing with RNG also. Like, we saw the movie, we saw the sequel with RNG.
Yeah.
RNG had a lot of superstar Chinese players, did not find very much competitive success. So, although I saw one roster change from Sirius. I thought they dropped Inflame for In July.
Oh, is that okay?
Yeah,
Okay,
I believe that was for this event.
For this event specifically, okay.
Right.
I was looking at their past matches and may not have seen that, so I'm gonna trust you on that one. Inflame and Angel, not okay. There you go. Thank you, Tsunami. You are right about that. But they are, despite the name similarity, they actually are quite similar players.
And during their qualifier run, Inflame was visibly the weakest link in their team, and so while roster changes are obviously very, very disappointing for the player who put in the effort to qualify with that team and then only to get swapped out shortly after, I do think it's a bit of an upgrade.
Yeah, I think so too. Inflame is a guy, he's had this reputation in the Chinese scene for years and years, that he's just an incredibly volatile player. He's a guy that makes incredible plays when he's into the game, but just for periods of months or more will just kind of check out. And In July is a lot more stable in that particular position, but I think I like the fact that they've got these two guys at the 2 and the 4 position in ASD and Tianming that we know are capable of playing great team Dota and great individual level Dota. We were talking about Tianming as maybe one of the next great 4 position players earlier this season as well.
All right, so now also stock maybe went up a little bit too during that segment when we were talking about the squad, but we got to talk about the team that, there's obviously got to be a lot of confidence around entering into this tournament, just based off of what they were able to do on their road here. We're going to look at some of the moments that have happened thus far in the year for them. How likely do you think it is that they're just coming in, not trying to pick up that momentum that Nahaz talked about, and they're just going to be taking it easy, not wanting to reveal too many of their cards?
Well, in the previous year with the Optic run, they were still fighting for DPC points. They were not confidently qualified for TI. They also, despite it being an extremely long season, I don't think they had as many back-to-back events because Optic just wasn't qualifying to as many events. So here, if anything, I don't necessarily think it would be them wanting to hold back. I would just think that if they don't perform at this event, it would be due to exhaustion because they have gone to so many events. And they have done the most DPC events of any team this season. This is their 6th event. If they make it through, then they will do 7 events going to Epicenter, which is brutal.
Yeah, and I think it's important for this season when you talk about, like, there are so many fewer DPC events, but also this turnaround between the major grand finals and then having to play ongoing qualifier, that's just got to go. Yeah. Like, I think that is the one thing that literally every pro player and analyst is pointing to as being just incredibly grueling about this season's schedule.
I loved Yapsur's stage interview after winning Disneyland. Slax was like, "You just won the tournament. What are you gonna do?" And Yapsur was like, "Play qualifiers for the next tournament."
Exactly.
Definitely a grueling schedule. Will that be a factor fatiguing these players when they do actually play their first series here for the StarLadder Minor? We're going to be finding out very shortly.
Look at that face. Look at that face by Peter there.
Smug.
That's absolutely what we know and love. Now, this is a team that is just, it is built around giving that man in the center so many weapons to work with in the draft. It's one of the widest hero pool teams in professional Dota. I believe 33 and Saxka, 9 and 8 different heroes respectively in the team's 10 games in this patch. Incredible variety. And 33 is just, he's this guy that it seems like every season he has this 1 or 2 heroes that nobody else plays that he's just crushing on. And this season it's the Night Stalker. He is 10 and 4 on that hero. Nobody else in the pro scene has more than 4 wins on
Last year it was the Visage and the Broodmothers that he was just wrecking shop on. But what about Ace though? Ace,
Meepo and Arc Warden, baby.
Yeah, he's got a lot of tools in his arsenal as well. Although a lot of people are saying that Ace may be a liquid proposition now that Matu's got that vacancy going. So we will be a good
We'll
a
see.
good showing at this event. Who knows?
Seen so many theories
So
in
many
the chat.
theories.
Yeah, a lot of theories in the chat, from Doc to Keanu Reeves. The chat's really doing they're doing the hard work.
Can
right
you
now.
cover for me? I gotta use the restroom.
Yeah, they're doing.
Keep the mic on.
Wow. All right. So I think it's not often that I get thrown off.
I had to do it to you at least once. Rich. I'm
Nah, I'm a
sorry.
sniper when it comes to that.
Wow, yeah, okay. Two-time champ. But one of the big things that we do need to keep in mind is the fact that we already have some Dota under our belt here. So what have we seen that may start to allow us to figure out what these guys are actually going to be playing? Are they going to be adapting to some of the changes that we've seen so far? I think the main thing that we have to do right now is hear from the players themselves. Luckily, we had some time to ask them a couple of questions. Let's hear from both of these squads.
About the minor, it's like my second time here in Kiev. It's my first time going to be playing in the StarLadder Arena, and I'm pretty excited to be here. The city looks nice, and yeah, I'm excited to play.
Well, we scrimmed yesterday. It was our first scrim on the new patch, and then immediately, I think a couple hours after our scrims, there was another new patch. So we're already qualified to TI, so we're just kind of do our best and see how far it takes us. Yeah, I mean, we all kind of like, everybody kind of has their own identities about how they play the game, and I don't think those are going to be very different. Now that we've already qualified to TI, the motivation to come to other events before Shanghai and compete for fractions of what the TI prize pool is going to be is, you know, maybe it's a little strange, but honestly, like, most of us just really like competing and playing, so coming out to tournaments and doing really well is like, this is our comfort zone. Like, some people say like, oh, your job is so stressful, but honestly, like, our time away from the game is like a little bit harder than the time we spend at tournaments.
So yeah, having a slot to TI is definitely a lot of less pressure for us, and I feel like the rest of the season is going to be pretty easy. We're gonna be able to play the tournaments, and we're gonna do our best. We're not gonna care about the qualifying for TI, and we're just gonna take it tournament by tournament, take it easy, and yeah, enjoy ourselves. So yeah, being the minor champions now, I feel like we have a lot of momentum going into this tournament, and we've learned a lot from playing the previous minor. The last minor, the finals, yeah, they got pretty close, maybe when they shouldn't be so close after beating all the teams so easily going into the final. So yeah, I hope we can do the same at this tournament.
Yeah, I think that we were definitely prepared going into the major, and I think that some teams maybe underestimated us a little bit. Maybe Vici Gaming, they're the team that helped us get to that top 6 kind of placement. We had gone through the minor and won, so we probably had the most games on the current patch in like a competitive setting, so that definitely helps a lot. And it's you know, hopefully we can make the same kind of run here.
Our performance in the last major is pretty good, considering we just won the minor and we went into the tournament with no practice. So yeah, hopefully we can achieve the same result going to this tournament and maybe the next one. Our biggest rivals in this tournament, it's kind of hard to say because it's a new patch and all these teams, you don't really know which heroes are going to be good and stuff. So I don't know. I mean, the biggest rivals, I guess, could be like some of the Chinese teams like eHome and Sirius. And yeah, I think those two.
Shout out to all the Eastern European fans who are going to be here or maybe in Moscow watching these last 2 Dota tournaments before TI. It's going to be a lot of fun, and the Cyber Arena always has a good crowd, so I'm looking forward to seeing them. I am a defending StarLadder champion, or from last year I was here at the same time. So
just want to say a shout out to all the CIS fans. They're going to come here to watch us, and yeah, hopefully we're going to have a good time.
我们这个队刚组1个月吧，1个月左右吧，不到2个月，然后队员都挺好的吧，感觉没什么难处吧，然后就感觉没什么难处吧，还好吧，没有感觉到特别快吧，感觉是意料之内的事情吧，团队吧，感觉组起来像一个 team 吧，然后就这样吧。 更新我没有仔细看，我也不知道，不好意思。我尽力吧，我也不知道。
We get a lot of information from those interviews, but I think one of the first things just to say is you straight up hear from NIP one of the teams that they considered potentially being some of their biggest competition was Sirius, and they're going to be playing them in the first matchup.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you talk about Peter, despite all the, leave China to me memes, I mean, this is a guy that has faced a lot of the top quality talent, the best that region has to offer over the years. You think about beating CDC in the TI5 final. Yeah, he's got a lot of respect for China and for these kind of players and the kinds of individual talent that they're producing. And that's similar to what we were talking about with eHome yesterday. That's the question to me about both the Chinese teams in this tournament is, we know the individual skill is there. Is the team play? Some of the things that we're talking about in that interview just there with ASD, is the team play, is the strategy going to be there, especially in a new patch?
Yeah, how do you feel about that? Do you think that it is going to be present, Tsunami?
I think that Peter is generally unreadable when it comes to interviews, and so whatever he may say and what he thinks are two wildly different things. I would be surprised if they generally consider Sirius to be a serious opponent, one that would really give them a run for their money, because I find it unlikely. I've been discouraged. I've wanted to believe in Aster. I wanted to believe that these superstar players could come back. I mean, I love Sylar. He's one of my favorite Eastern players from his legacy, and I always wanted to be encouraged by their return to the professional scene, but it just never delivers.
Let me give you hope here.
Okay. Please.
The big difference between Aster and Sirius is that we have at least two players on Sirius that have just had a ton of success this season.
True.
I mean, Tianming and ASD delivered big time for eHome in the early part of this year. And in July, unlike in Flame, in July is a much, much more stable player. I think, to me, if you're stable 2 through 4 in Pro Dota, you can have a chance to win
for sure
in almost every game. And that's where I feel like NIP is definitely going to have the edge strategically. I mean, I think it's been since TI5 EG that Peter has had this many weapons to play with in a draft.
Especially his signature weapon.
Oh my goodness, the first pick. I'm telling you, a lot of pros have been spamming this hero in pubs.
But not in professional games.
No, we haven't seen it in officials yet, but this has been it's part of the buzz when you talk to players and you talk to individual teams. Everybody's sort of wondering who's going to try out Tran.
Yeah, and oftentimes, since we have 2 European teams in this tournament, I'll be like, okay, well, regionally, these regions favor these heroes, but NIP go to the beat of their own drum, and so Alliance are picking, their signature things. NIP are going to pick their own things, and I think in this different group, we're going to see a lot of different heroes, although Sirius will stick with their Chinese compatriots, as eHome also love Leshrac quite a bit.
I think Leshrac is hard not to like right now. I just think the hero gives you a lot, and potentially even in different roles. And we're going to see if they're going to go back to the traditional eHome Leshrac Sand King opening, or whether they're going to go in another direction with Warlock already banned.
I don't even know what you pair with Treant Protector, though. I'm very excited to see, because this is the first phase Treant Protector. It's not even something like, oh, this could be a good Treant game. It's like, I'm gonna make this a good Treant game if it's the last thing I do.
I mean, Peter, one of the winningest Treant players all time.
Oh, yeah.
In Pro Dota 2.
One of the few people.
He's got a gaudy record on this hero.
He used to spam it in pubs before he was even good.
Yes.
He just enjoys the hero.
10 seconds.
All right, in a few moments, we're going to find out what is going to be paired with it. A few questions from the analysts.
5 seconds remaining.
How do you build around this first pick?
So I think there are multiple approaches. Sometimes you want to take advantage of the living armor build, and so you go for heroes who like to play very aggressively early on and can tank a lot more. They can tower dive and stuff like that. Shadow Shaman. This seems more like a Leech Seed pairing then.
No, see, the reason that I really like the Shadow Shaman is I feel like support play in this patch is going to be as or more important as any time over the past couple of years. I really feel like as we go toward TI, support play, because they're going to have more resources to work with, it's going to become so critical, even more so than in the recent past. Shadow Shaman is their most picked support this season. Sasuke is 22-5 since the last TI on Shadow Shaman, and when half of your support duo is a little bit of an experiment, I love picking up this Shadow Shaman who he got a slight nerf, small nerf to his base attack time, but that huge attack damage is still there. He's going to be able to lock down that lane, and we just know what Saksa can do as the match goes on this hero.
Yeah, and I like it a little bit more than Saksa's other signature, Rubik, because this hero is a little bit more useful earlier on. Rubik's a little bit greedier, and so I think if you're going to start experimenting, then go something with something a little bit more stable, like a Shadow Shaman.
We've seen a lot of Rasta today in general as
10
well.
seconds
Yeah, we have.
Yeah, and I really, day one, we didn't necessarily see it, but we're starting to get a wider sample of all of our squads here now.
And I think this is a Shadow Shaman that will get more farm than the Shamans that you saw earlier in the day.
Yeah, yeah.
Saxa likes finishing off big items.
And Peter known for playing that hard set.
Exactly.
Right? No, I think you're going to look at a Rasta that is going to get a blink, that is eventually going to get an Ags in this match, possibly both by the 30-35 minute mark, and that's the kind of thing. Again, as you're looking at some of these stats, I was looking at the end game stat screens in the first series that you guys are doing, and one of the things that you're noticing is like you'll have a game like that last one where like the hero damage is actually pretty close, and where I mean that last game, I don't know if you guys covered this in the post game. Windstrike had 300 more last hits than Hamburguesa did. And the hero damage was like close. The difference was less than 10K.
Although Sven was suspiciously missing from that hero.
Right, exactly.
He was hitting a lot of creeps, not hitting a lot of heroes.
But here's the thing, right? So much of Dota right now is the ability to take that one fight between 25 and 35 minutes and convert it into big base damage. And Shadow Shaman is just a hero. If you're putting farm on him, especially if you get that Ags around that time of the game, he's just a hero that can take one fight. And if he survives, all of a sudden, it's a lane of racks at least.
Yeah.
For sure.
Don't worry, Nahaz. We were all over those stats on the last analyst segment.
but how are we all over those stats?
Dude, we love stats. We got some of the best looking numbers on the face of the planet provided by our analytical partner in SAP.
That's who it was.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of SAP, don't get them confused with the picks from NIP. That's not SAP, that's just SAP.
Yes, the tree. I get it. I know where you're going
Wow.
with that.
I mean, you really...
The gears returning for
That's
that
good.
one.
That's good, Rich. I like that. You took the time. You really built up the joke.
Yeah. You know, I come in, I say my joke, and then after that, you can just leave me alone.
Oh, my Lord, get me out.
You don't have a third one in you.
What? Don't have a third one in me?
Oh,
You
come
don't
on.
have a third.
I could really
You mean
branch
you
out
would?
here.
You really do need to branch out.
I was going for the branch joke.
Thank you.
I started. I was going to branch out, and then I was going to go back to the root of it and make that wood joke.
I think you just got called and raised, buddy. Anyway.
Now the question.
All right, there you go. I'm telling you, man, this is Sirius showing their cards pretty damn early on in the draft.
Yeah.
And what are those cards? What was the hand that was just revealed?
Carry Naga Siren, man.
They want to farm a lot, and they don't want to have to worry about... So Naga Siren, as opposed to, I guess, like your Terror Blades or your Spectres or something like that, technically she requires a little bit less protection. With her having a song, she has her own way of getting out of fights, and so I think that's the advantage of Naga Siren as opposed to other hard carries. And other hard carries are more popular because they're like, well, whatever, I want to fight with my carry. I don't want to just leave her alone, make her farm for 40 minutes or something like that. But
And importantly, right, it's not just protection for her. It's a reset, and it's not just something that impacts the game. It also has a big impact on the draft, is that you know that you have this reset button. And this is, you kind of know with these first two supports that NIP is going to pick a lot of team fight here in a hero like the Brewmaster. And that's, the Naga is anticipating that, saying, look, we know that we need to have this reset button, right? Our first two picks on board are not things that are going to have big team fight abilities, and we're not a wombo combo type team. If you look at Sirius's games coming up to here, NIP are much more in that brand. I think picking that Naga there gives you a degree of team fight insurance as the draft goes on.
It's very, very much like how a silencer is in disengagement. It's just that I don't know what direction they want to go with it now. Like, do you gear yourselves towards a 50-minute game, or if NIP are going for a lot of team fight, then you're like, well, Naga's like our plan B, but our plan A is that we can go head-to-head with NIP in a team fight. It's based off their bans. Well, okay, so they ban out the respect of Night Stalker.
Yeah, and I think that's, I really, if you get to the second phase and that hero is still on board, I'm banning Night Stalker almost every time.
Against 33 at least.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess specifically against NIP.
Yeah.
That's what I'm meaning here. Lion, hardly a surprise. Again, kind of an answer to the Rasta in some ways, in that he's got the two very strong disables.
Though wildly different than Group A, because no Oracle whatsoever. No bans, no picks,
Right.
just utterly ignored.
You're seeing a lot of different heroes come out.
Well, that's partly you're going to see that in a new patch, right? I mean, you're just the new patches are the times when you see the greatest discrepancies in how heroes.
Everyone
are
has
valued
their own
across
idea.
teams. Right? Like you're going to see Chen first ban here, right? By Sirius, you're going to see drafts where Chen isn't touched.
Right.
We had an interesting track record so far in this tournament with Chen. Only one game so far, and we lost our resident Chen feeder in Sin.
Oh, I thought you were going to say expert, but I think you were more accurate.
Yeah, definitely more accurate with that. But already we're starting to see a lot of different ideas in our first game of Group B than what we saw in Group A. And keep in mind, once we actually do get to the bracket on the 4th day of this tournament, we're going to see them collide. Once we actually do get to the bracket, we'll have to see which ideas are actually going to reign supreme. But what do we think of what we have from NIP coming together so far? What does this lineup actually offer?
I mean, I like this Ember Spirit pick quite a lot here for a couple of reasons. Number one, it is a flex pick for them. They will run it either mid or safe lane. And number two, it's sort of one of the big mid heroes left in the pool that you would worry about is the Templar Assassin going into the 5th pick. And we all know, Ember Spirit, we've seen a couple times in this tournament, actually picked as a laning answer to the TA that we saw first phase.
Now that you already see the supports of Sirius with the Abaddon and the Lion, you don't even have to waste a ban on Oracle, which is usually critical if you want to pick Ember Spirit. So, I mean, based off of Group A, like Wraith King was a very popular carry. NIP has a history of playing that. And
no, that's also a very important point, right? Offensive purges, offensive dispels are very, very rare in Dota, and the two that you really worry about most, one is Oracle, the other is Brewmaster that you already have with his offensive dispel during the ult. So that's another two big things that Ember Spirit has to worry about.
Sirius are definitely trying to keep their eyes on Ace. I mean, Arc Warden, still potential.
Yeah, that Spectre ban, though, it's the numbers. He hasn't played that many games, but Ace Spectre 4-1 this year and a combined 47, 6, and 72 KDA in those 5 games. His Spectre is very, very strong and often gets banned.
Right, rounding out everything here in the first game.
Wow, they're burning all their reserve time on an OD ban.
Okay.
So protecting what is most likely now a mid lane Ember Spirit, which was likely. They do have the flex potential, as you said, but chances are it's going to be played mid, given to Fada. Also, Fada Razor is totally missing. That dude has been playing so much Razor. I haven't seen any Razor, actually, in this tournament yet.
Oh?
10 seconds.
Puck, another hero that Fada plays a lot that we have not. He's all-time wins leader on the hero that we have not seen at all.
Is that true? All-time wins, Fada Puck?
Oh, yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
So I love it. I love it here. This is you even to the bitter end here. This is more than likely mid Ember Spirit safe lane troll, but you even to the bitter end preserve a little bit of flex value.
Although then that means that Sirius completely misread this because it looks like NIP are going for a more early mid game with troll coming online far earlier than the Spectre ever would.
10 seconds.
So it looks like they just want to put a cork in this game before the Naga Siren even bothers to come online.
Okay, and this again, so my mistaking In July for Inflame, it's really the same thing because they're the same hero that you pick for both of them here in the Batrider. These are definitively comfort drafts for both of these teams. But the bottom line is we've seen Nip play much better Dota this season, and I don't see anything about this Sirius draft that's going to give the NIP draft huge issues.
So do you think it's relatively equal footing, though, as far as the draft is concerned, and you're just putting your hat with Nip? Because
if you hid the team names, I would weakly prefer the NIP draft, but then when you show me the names, I think NIP are probably 70% in this one.
Okay. All right. Definitely something that we do want to keep in mind there. But Tsunami, I'm going to make you do the hard job of predicting who you think's going to come out on top.
So if you did the same name hiding thing, I think I would actually kind of give the edge to Sirius. I like the Batrider. Batrider is often picked early, and then you have to ban out a bunch of stuff like Abaddon and Legion Commander and Omni Knight and stuff like that, or Nyx. Yep. And being able to save it all the way for the end and not have to spend so many bans means that Troll Warlord is going to struggle in the late game, and Ember Spirit's going to struggle in the early game, I think. If Inflame delivers, which
In July.
right. And we'll have to see because this is a fresh roster swap, so this will be the benchmark.
I do want to touch on one thing before we throw it down to our beautiful casters. I do want to ask, so the main thing is, even though relatively equal as far as the draft's concerned, we said the whole thing, if we hid the names, you guys are both coming out on different sides, but you still both say it's close. Very different plans to actually close out the game, right? Well, one wants to close out early, one wants to close out late.
This Naga, for Sirius to win, this Naga needs to carry hard.
You heard it from Nahaz. Now we're going to jump down to our casters and actually get to see what they think about this one. And I hope they've been thinking about the numbers. I know we have. Thank you to SAP. And let's see who's going to be able to take this first game in Group B.
It's a good question. Team Sirius versus Ninjas in Pyjamas is a good way to start this, just to be able to get a good kind of measure on these teams. Obviously, Ninjas in Pyjamas is probably the favored team, considering what they did with the last minor, and also just their recent performance in general. Seems like a lot of teams view them as the biggest threat, but as we said time and time before in Dota, being the biggest threat also puts you at a big disadvantage.
Yeah, I think that I actually prefer Sirius's draft.
All right, well, you and Tsunami both. Is it because of the last pick, Batrider? That was Tsunami's biggest point about their draft.
It's mainly because I wanted Alan to look bad.
Oh, well, that's also a good motivation for making your predictions.
No, I think that I agreed with the point about the Batrider.
That
I think that
you like the bat. That was pretty much the point, that he liked the bat and that it was picked late.
I think the Batrider's great. I could very easily see this being a really good Naga game as well. I think it really comes down to how the offlaners perform. Like if 33 has a really free game, I could also see him just owning this Naga.
And it's going to be a 33 dual lane with a hero that we've actually been seeing a lot of pro players playing around with. It's the Treant Protector. Before this minor actually started, I watched No-Tail play back-to-back games of pubs practicing Treant Protector. I got into a game with Y, or Innocence. And he snap-picked Treant Protector when given the chance. So it seems like all the pro players all the 5 positions are trying to figure out whether or not this support is worthy. And Peter Pandam, anyway, he at least feels strongly enough about it to be able to pick it up as their very first hero in their draft.
I mean, he is a prolific tree player. Loves playing this hero. Plays it a lot.
So if it's back in the meta, hype. But is it back in the meta, Blitz?
We'll see. I mean, I have to kind of see how it works out myself.
Yeah.
Because I haven't played... I played like 6 pub games in this patch. It released before I had access to a computer.
Yep. Me and you both.
But we did play using Complexity's PCs. Thank you for them.
Yeah, shout out to them for their late entry. So we finally got a little bit of chance to get our hands on the Dota game. There is, we should go over the natures. Guy's change, which is the biggest change that just recently happened to Treant Protector. It's now a self-cast ability with just a little bit of time it takes to be able to cast it. And you still do the same tree walking thing that you did before. One of the big advantages, you don't have that fade delay that you had before. You have to self-cast it, yes, but I feel like that's a big advantage compared to like having to walk next to a tree and like hope that it goes off in time, you know? And it does have a cooldown, so you can't immediately get it back. But it's still, I think you can still almost... Well, you can't actually chain it, because I guess it's a 4-second cooldown to 2.2. But you can chain it with, because I watched No-Tail do. He hit, overgrowth, went back into the trees again, hit again. So he got like, 6 seconds of single target disable on somebody because of that. Actually, it's probably more like 7 or 8. We are going to have them securing Ninjas in Pyjamas, rather, securing the top lane. We see the full aggression coming out from Sirius, making sure they get these 2 bounty runes.
I think Abba's a really good counter, though, to Tree, right?
In the fact that you have an answer to overgrowth?
Yeah. You can get yourself +1 out.
Yeah.
Plus, I think this is a very good back game. Like, in the laning phase against Troll, it should be really nice.
Yeah. They don't have a great saving mechanism. Living Armor is not going to do a whole lot against the damage over time from the Batrider. They have no way to be able to stop that disable. The best they can do is disable the Batrider with the Shadow Shaman or Tree to keep him from pulling anybody back. But None of the classic save mechanisms like Oracle and Abaddon that are probably the most popular supports right now that can do that for you. And first things first is going to be Peter Pandam trying to shut down Sylar's Naga Siren, because I do agree with you. I think this could be a really good Naga Siren game. I've been pulling
predicated on slowing down the Brewmaster.
Yeah. And 33 blocks the hard camp, pulls creep wave all the way over, so he gets it in front of his tower. Mid matchup is going to be the Ember Spirits, Fada's Ember Spirit versus ASD's Leshrac. That's favorable for the Lesh at first, right?
Yeah, but at some point it's really hard for the Ember. You don't lose your Flame Guard.
Yeah, you get
the
like
burst,
level 3 Flame Guard.
Yeah. Once the Lesh hits like 6, it becomes better, but before that point, like, you only spam out 2 spells.
Right.
It'll last.
So he just needs to get into that second level of Flame Guard. He'll start feeling a lot better about his laning phase. You can already see Ace. He's doing a good job with the CS right now, but he's going to be feeling a constant sticky napalm. In July, managing to pull the creep wave back into his tower means a nice long lane that you can always threaten Ace in.
Yeah, and Fada's actually crushing mid right now. Almost doubling up in CS. Actually, with that CS, straight up doubled him.
And they have, you know, near the same base damage too. Leshrac really doesn't have that much of a difference between that Ember Spirit, but maybe just because he's a melee hero and such, Fada securing a 14-0 CS score compared to 8-0 on the Leshrac right now.
Yeah, easy does it so far as, I mean, the Ember animation just feels really good. Leshrac's doesn't feel too bad, but
it's still at the end of like a ranged projectile.
Yeah.
While Ember Spirit is just a ha-cha.
Plus the Leshrac doesn't pressure you that hard. Like maybe in the first 2 levels, but even then, like, his spells are quite weak.
Yeah.
The point of Leshrac is that you just farm, trade even. Once in a while, if somebody comes to come roam for you, you might get a kill. But I think it's unlikely because the Shaman, or the Lion, I mean, is up in this top lane. Like, it's harder for him to rotate, right? Because it becomes much more obvious when he does, as opposed to the Abaddon. But it's not like Firefly's going to move out of this bottom lane at any point.
You want to talk about the difference of Leshrac's before and what we're seeing lately? Mostly being innovated by Samael's Leshrac at Birmingham.
The move speed thing, right?
Yeah.
It's so that you have constant pressure on the map. You can run around really quickly, which means that when you get the boots of travel, you're always like pressuring the lanes out, which I think he really likes to do. Plus, it makes you just a beast in team fights. Like, you run in, the Kaya and Yasha build makes it so that you just deal overall more damage too.
Yeah.
Which is never a bad thing on a hero like Leshrac. Like, all the percentage-based stuff helps Leshrac so much, considering it helps all 4 of his skills actively.
Right.
He's the most offensive hero in Dota in that sense anyways. So, like, when the hero's good, he's going to feel real good.
Yeah. So the percentage of Kaya is going to feel super good. And then the Yasha is going to feel good just because the natural build-up. You've got Yules that gives you movement speed. You said the Boots of Travel build is there as well.
Yeah, I mean, positioning on this hero matters more than just, like, raw strength or anything like that.
Yeah.
So if you're, like, purely a positioning-based hero, it's going to matter more having that move speed rather than getting early BKB online or anything like that.
Zhang doing a really good job against Peter Pandam right now. Might be able to kill him. The self-cast goes off. Is he going to go for the Impale? The blind Impale, but Peter does dodge it pretty well.
That was a 50-50.
Yeah.
He made that a 50-50.
Sport position, who first made his... Ooh, 33, a little bit low. Will be okay, and Peter just going to suicide to neutrals.
That's the right call.
Especially since the change to the death timer thing, where it's now 30 seconds, I believe, for you to be able, like, you have to stop taking hero damage before you can suicide to the tier 2 and split the gold rather than giving it all to one person. So it just means that that window, you're going to see a lot more people just suiciding to neutral creeps rather than suiciding to tier 2s like they did before. So it seems like everyone's just kind of farming pretty well.
Yeah, no kills happening around the map. I think this bottom lane should be winning for the bat, but part of it is that he doesn't really have an offensive partner.
Yeah, with the Batten being in lane, do you feel like they should have done...
He canceled his TP?
Yeah. You feel like they should have done Lion bottom instead of a Batten?
Yeah, I definitely think they should have done Lion bottom.
Because I don't think you're, as the Lion, I don't think you can do a whole lot to stop this tree.
You're not, but like Naga,
through.
the thing about it is that Naga farms against everybody. She's got super high base armor.
Yeah.
Sylar's not a fool. He can just kind of sit here, play around this area. If he gets really far behind, he can just mirror image and farm neutrals.
And finally, he's going to show up here trying to catch Soxa. Will be able to hit him with the Impale. They've got a Hex if needed, but it really doesn't look like it. Runs him down with a Firefly. That's first blood.
I mean, this is the lane that I sort of expected.
Yeah.
Putting the Abaddon at bottom kind of felt pointless to me. I guess the upside is that you can shrug off the shackles and the mischance from the troll, but that doesn't really affect you that much as Batrider.
Yeah. Because oftentimes, you're not really going to be going for the troll kill a lot. You're going to be going for the kill on Shadow Shaman anyway. So if you get the disable on him, then his disables on the Batrider don't really matter.
I feel like this is a lane that they could have already gone like 2-3 kills in.
Yeah. Sadly, just not the case right now. At least they pick up the first blood. At 5 minutes in, but Ninjas the Pyjamas are having a slight lead right now. You just see Firefly pretty soon go for the deny on himself in top lane with the miscoil spam. See whether or not Nip can somehow get a last hit on him, but it just seems unlikely. They have no range stuns to throw out. Oh, Zhanghan with a perfect time there of the Impale onto Soxa as he tries to go for the shackles, gets into the trees, but his ward is also going to be immediately countered, and he may still be found. Soxa burrows his way through the trees, does manage to spot him out here. Shackles up and another 1 second. Impale going out though. And he's just going to take as much right-click damage onto this line as possible. But yeah, as you said, I mean, Sylar is half the time there hasn't been a support in his lane. He's 39-7, top of the CS board.
They want to make a move onto this lane. PPD is going to spot him out.
Going to be able to hit him.
Really out of position.
And now the Ben has to bail out in July, who probably should be fine as long as he's able to Firefly. Away into the trees he goes.
They're going to drop the sentry here, but not a whole lot of wiggle room. S33, he's getting stuck right now. SD waiting for him to
lead
come
off.
for the range
Do they have the ensnare? They don't have an ensnare, so they really need 33 to move over to like this range creep area and hit the stun.
I think he's waiting too long.
Yeah,
he's trying to force him
too much wasted time.
The right over here, but 33 is actually being really smart. And he just consistently goes to the left, and now they're going to make the jump on him, and this should be a kill.
Oh, he's going to be able to dodge the split earth, but still, it's so hard to get away from this Leshrac once he's on top of you. He had just enough mana.
I mean, he missed like every spell, but he's still
Yeah. But at least 33 costs him, you know, an extra 30 or 33 more seconds of time to get that kill. That was not intentional. It just kind of popped out, I swear. Meanwhile, the Ember Spirit, Fada was just kind of free farming away, has a double damage rune. We'll see what kind of rotations he wants to make. When you are, bottom lane, trying to go forward with the Hex, the Sticky Napalm, there's going to be Soxa to be able to slow down this Batrider, but immediately their Photic Shield goes out. In July has a Firefly now. He has enough for the lasso as well. If he just gets close enough to be able to grab him, that's going to be a kill as they pull him back, keep the disables on him to make sure he can't get off his ultimate.
They want more.
And now they can get Soxa as well. There's no TPs coming in, and they probably see that too with the Flying Vision of In July, giving vision of most of this tower area. They are going to be able to give him maybe that tree armor. They're going to have to dive in a lot more to be able to get this kill. Peter Van Dam, now the jump in from Fada. That was just long enough. Even if they did get the Shadow Shaman eventually, a lot of your heroes had to dive in a bit too deep. They're only going to get one of them, though, and that's the Lion.
It's pretty disappointing for an IP. I think they expected more from the rotation of the Ember Spirit.
Especially, he had mangoes, he had a regen rune, but guess the Abaddon just made things too difficult. Could only go for the Lion.
That is what we expect, though, out of the Batrider versus Troll matchup. Just make it really hard for the Troll to turn, get on top of him. All these heroes really suffer against heroes like Batrider, like these TVs, Lycans, Troll Warlords. And there's already Boots of Travel, I think, unless I missaw that.
Yep, on our In July Batrider. Indeed.
5 minutes faster than average. Oof.
Is that 5 minutes faster for this patch?
Than this patch average, yeah.
We've seen, I mean, it's not all the time, but we have seen a lot of Boots of Travel first Batriders.
That's still very quick.
Yeah, I mean, he's not even that far up in CS. 28 and 5, I guess maybe most people don't rush it as much as this. Fada, what a big pickup that was.
That is actually huge.
He was trying to rotate over, I'm guessing, to put some pressure in top and help secure the bounty runes.
But Lion in this like mid-game area where Ember can't just like get on top of you is so good. I mean, you know, I partially went with Sirius because I do think NIP might be the better team.
Oh, Peter got spotted and can pull into the sentry there. He was actually fine where he was at before, not that he could really know that.
Yeah. I mean, this Batrider is massive. Part of it is that I just think that their laning phase is just too good on the side of Sirius.
Yeah.
And the easiest way to win Dota, especially if you think one team is better, is just to win the lanes. If you could win 3 of the lanes, like it's by far the easiest path to victory. You can play very passive, and all the pressure is on the enemy team to make moves as a team. Like, your cores have to connect a lot faster to each other when you play this style. Whereas, like, when you win 3 lanes, all 3 cores can play relatively separate. Like, they don't have to make any big moves.
Trying to make the dive onto the last track. Firefly is there. A Phonic Shield to be able to remove the stun, but there is still the slow with the Primal Split going out as well. Tossing out the Batrider in the air to make sure they can finish off ASD. He's still getting so much heal and so much damage over time out of Fada that he feels uncomfortable going for the next kill in either Firefly or Batrider. But it looks like it's going to be Firefly caught by the shield. Oh, the zap though on Soxa. He stumbles a little bit too far forward. And now, as the Primal Split fades out in July, should be able to chase down 33 pretty easily. A dominating streak for in July. They did get that last strike, but it's still the Batrider who's on top right now.
Yeah, that's going to be a 2 for 2 is Ace. He is so far behind
What
in
is
levels.
this level difference? My goodness.
Again, it's just the Batrider versus Troll matchup.
Oof.
It's not an easy lane for him to go to. They dove him under. He wasn't... the core's connected to him, meaning that Ace was just never going to get that much XP. Whereas Naga Siren really does not care about what heroes are in our lane.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen Nature's Prophet Wyvern go at her with everything. Treants, right-clicking her with Arctic Burn, it does nothing. Just so much armor. Really good base stats overall. It's just hard to stop this hero's farm unless you get one of those like burst combos like Grim plus Sven.
Yeah. And once you get these stats now, life is going to be harder and harder for the supports as illusions. Just run at them. Looking to make the dive here in bottom lane. If Peter shows himself, if not, they'll just take this tier 1 tower. They have to...
they know? Do they have
they
dust?
do know, with the, especially with the Dogbalk Edict hitting Peter.
Yeah, as soon as that happens, should be very obvious to everyone involved. And they do have dust. I'm surprised they didn't use it there.
It's probably just because of the tree walking.
Oh, they're going to spot him.
They spot him, but it's like they need the hard disable of the Lion on him.
Man, this is such a good Batrider game.
Flying around.
This is very well done by Sirius, but
Oh,
they've got to be careful here.
They're
This
trying
is
to
gonna be
heal
a
up
tier 2.
mid-tier 1 right now while also pushing this tier 2 atop. Sirius really want to be able to finish up this mid tower as it got so low and they know the danger of leaving it to a tree right now, but that's exactly what Ninjas Pyjamas want you to do. They're going to be able to get the 4-man overgrowth. A great setup. Firefly looking to be able to keep ASD alive as best as possible. He's a little bit low himself. Will be able to get away. The lasso burning out Peter. Almost enough to manage to get the heal, and Ace barely managed to get off the battle trance. Sirius almost got both of them. It looks like Ace will eventually die here as he's not able to get a kill on his Sirius. And he just, because of his ultimate, was drawn into that tier 1 tower area.
They did save the tower, and this is going to force them to reassess, but they don't have the ulti on the tree at this time, but they do have the Bruce Split, and I'd imagine they want to all-in commit to saving this tower. That is the point of their strategy. They've got 3 points in this living armor. Just keep it alive for as long as you can. All 10 wards being farmed up so far by the Naga. We saw that at top when he dropped it for the tier 2. And Sylar still hasn't really been touched at all. And we're seeing that reflected in the net worth. But it's just hard for NIP to make these moves because they're constantly under pressure. They're very acutely aware of the fact that their troll is so far behind, I think.
Yeah.
But Sirius is always forming as 3 towards this mid tower. And it's just hard to get aggressive in that situation.
I've heard like one of the big ways to beat Ninjas Pyjamas is to make Ace's game hard.
Yeah. I mean, they definitely did that. He's just hit level 8. His farm isn't terrible, it's just the levels are so far behind as they trade out sentry wards. And it's this constant pressure towards this mid lane that forces everybody over and makes it awkward for there to be any sort of pressure onto Sylar. Because what you're doing is, maybe you get a gank attempt on this guy, but it's most likely not going to land because Sylar has a lot of stats and he can just pop sleep. And during that time, Sirius will take your mid tower. They're putting you in a position where you have to choose one or the other at this point. That's how you're opening up space on the map for Sylar, as They're going to get aggressive here. If they could catch Ace, this would be so massive, and they are going to make the go.
They might be able to chase him with a flame break, bumps him over, gives him with lasso. Now, especially with the Lion there, just finger. Oh, they actually let him get that off. He could have thrown any one of those disables. He didn't really have to finger him either. They do manage to get the kill eventually. Two-man impale, that's a nice setup, but it means Xiang'an is in trouble. He does have the aphotic shield. Mist Coil's coming out as well. Firefly's gonna pop his ultimate here. They're gonna come in from the side. ASD has actually spotted that Saksa is maybe just chasing these heroes a little bit too far forward. They do manage to get both the supports. Firefly's aphotic shield's gonna wear out here, but ASD is still plenty healthy, and Fada's just gonna run away from him. The Primal Split is gonna wear out eventually here. He's got to get the Earth Panda back to safety as you never know if In July is going to come back in for that kill.
Yeah, and this is just more space. And look at it. Sylar took mid during this time. They're putting them into these uncomfortable positions where it's like, pick. Which one do you want to do? You want to save your troll? Then you're going to lose mid tower. And it's not even a favorable trade as they lose the core. It could have gone a lot better for Sirius, actually.
Into the split Earth. I'm not sure if he has a Rend it down. I don't think he does. He's going to have to throw one out, jump away.
Was the split Earth on CD? That was interesting.
He's low on mana, but he
that's because of his ulti, yeah. And PPD, TP incoming from the Batrider.
Oh, good play here from In July using. Oh, he must have missed the dust. Okay,
yeah,
never
was
mind.
Just a little bit too far off.
Their heroes are also very good at countering the living armor, right? Of both on towers as well as heroes.
Yeah, they're gonna get a kill on Firefly, but
it's a whatever kill.
It indeed is, because the bigger threat, this bottom lane Sylar, already has a Manta style and 1,500 gold.
Yeah, Peter behind him. See if he can get the Nature's Guys bonk overgrowth into full disables out from Saksa. They also have the Brewmaster coming in. Do they have enough? Look at her, how tanky she is right now. Oh, try to get it. Finally, the Song of Siren goes down, TP out, and this is exactly what you were saying. You're just saying she has too much stats.
Yeah. When she's this strong, it doesn't really matter if you catch her with 3 heroes because you just won't have the disables.
They needed like Fada there as well or something.
Yeah, if they had Fada there, maybe that's a kill, but
Fada needs, I mean, he needs a little bit of recovery still for that Maelstrom.
It's the commitment that you have to bring just to bring down this hero.
Yeah.
Like, whereas ASD, you know, he has enough damage where if he gets the Yule Scepter here, he just gets a kill on Fada. And Fada not even trying to play with him.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure ASD is happy with that.
Dude, this is sick play from Sirius overall, though.
Yeah.
Like, I really, really like how they keep forcing the issue, and they're making it just hard for this Naga to be pressured at all. I mean, this has got to be such a scary game for NIP to play because you know the Naga's had such a free game.
Yeah.
Like, since the laning phase, she hasn't really seen a hero. And the one time they pressure her, it confirms in Sylar's brain that he's unkillable. As long as he has sleep up anyways.
Dire structures are fortified.
Ensnare's removed by basic dispel, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll at least always have the battle trance, but yeah, good trap there set up for Fada. They do have the overgrowth. Finger Death going down on Fada, still not dead. Sox is going to be able to get a beautiful Serpent Wards trap. He's going to commit his life here to shackle up Xiang'an and make sure he dies underneath the Serpent Wards. Also, the Firefly is quite low as his borrowed time is now out. He's looking to be able to save Sylar. They just went for it because they knew he does not have Song of Siren right now. He needs to be able to throw out that Aphotic Shield as he gets the ensnare, pops the illusions, but they're already staying onto the real one. Another Stone Boulder comes out, but still too tanky, especially with the Abaddon nearby. They want to overstep themselves, maybe they already have with the ensnare out on 33. Sylar, nice juke there of that Thunderclap, and all they have to do is just wait until the Batrider's here, grab him with the lasso, surrounding the Brewmaster. Tries to go for a desperate TP away. Maybe it's not so desperate. Oh, doesn't make it though. Still,
and Ace might be dead
and
too.
ASD gonna chase down Ace. He does have the battle trance, but he knows if he pops it, he's dead. That's why he just hoped and prayed that he could run fast enough, and indeed he does.
And barely does at that, but now a TP coming in, Fada, trying to save his tower.
They had the living armor into the little bit of time they have, but it's still not going to be enough. Again, just it gets ripped apart by Diabolic Edict and then Naga Siren with all her illusions. Multiple instances of damage happening all the time.
And this Batrider just TPs down towards bottom lane. 4-0-7 in July is absolutely beasting it on this Bat Rider so far.
Oh, yeah. He's making a very strong argument for Sirius's roster change and why this was worth it for them. I'm sure it was, maybe it wasn't as controversial in the Western scene, but I have no doubt that it's got to be controversial in the Chinese scene at least.
I think right now NIP's only move is to smoke like this. Like, they have to do something to... The downside of going down into your jungle like this is because the lane is so pushed in, it's not like you'll get anything out of it. And Sirius have read this. They scan successfully. They're going to run in. They want to take this fight on the side of Sirius.
Yeah, they're going to be able to lead off with the Hex on Peter, get the Impale. The Bat Rider just wants to be able to chase down more important cores, and he will be able to get one. That's going to be Fada with all that physical damage from the Naga Siren, taking him out. Saksa will be able to TP away. Oh, never mind. We're going to blow the Saga Siren to make sure that not even Saksa can escape from this one, slowing down his Blink Dagger with this death. Sylar, Manta, Defusal.
Look at this. They're going to set the trap for 33.
Oh, that was so fast. Already up there in that top lane within Julian Chung and able to catch 33 here. Thought, well, at least they'll be able to get the 2 bounties, but that's not even the case. He tries to go for the bounties, loses his life instead as ASD comes in to clean up the kill.
That was such a sick trap. They're playing so quick around the map, and they're still looking for more as Ace in the area, but in July, looks like he's just pulling this creep wave out. Going to farm out the neutrals. And there's going to be a time period where Sirius have to be careful because Sylar doesn't have that sleep. But so far, so good for Sirius as they are up, doubling the kill score right now. Objectives in their favor as well. All of their cores picking up a lot of farm now. I've got to say, by the way, Leshrac looks so insane. No matter what you do to this hero, it always just feels like he's putting out so much damage. He's naturally going to be very tanky because of the Abaddon.
Yep. Doesn't go for the Kayayasha build, but has duels into Bloodstone now.
Yeah. The next big change for NIP is going to be the BKB on Ace.
Okay.
That's really like your best shot at that point. If you just click around on the rest of the heroes, there's not a whole lot that anybody else, I think, is going to be waiting for.
Yeah.
Like, that is the biggest game-changing.
That'll hopefully depreciate the Leshrac's value to all these team fights.
You see this tree just carrying around a bunch of sentries. Peter Pandam's life not getting any easier as there's so much detection around. And for the most part, they're just sort of ignoring him in fights because he doesn't actually provide that much. He's not that scary of a presence. Ace might get caught out here once again.
Pull him back to the Leshrac, who has the Yules ready to go to set up the split. Earth doesn't really need to use it, though. He can wait to use the Yules for the battle trance. Pops it just before the split Earth. And, well, ASD is going to take a lot of damage. Might even go down here. Oh, okay, finally the battle trance.
Oh.
It fades away. They got another one. 33, as you said. They're just playing so fast around the map. 33 can't even get off the primal split. Wiped out by the finger of death.
They have to retreat right now.
And they're just running forward now. The Bat Rider, as well as Sylar, looking for any ensnare, any diffusal blade he can catch. That's going to be on Saksa. Peter quickly manages to take away the high ground vision that Sirius has. And
but
gets
again,
away
they're just ignoring this tree.
Yeah. He's not doing enough.
And the point of this tree was to be able to keep that mid-tier 1 tower alive. And keep that top tier 1 tower alive. And just because ASD had such a good start, and the rotations that they've made with this Bat Rider, that has largely been negated. And they are just getting run over all along the map right now.
Another play would be shutting down the enemy carry, right?
Yeah.
Naga Siren pick counters that really heavily.
Again, because she just doesn't care.
Yeah. Yule Scepter catching Peter as they set up for the tier 2 tower push. Keep it going, Sirius. I'm loving watching this level of Dota.
They are playing, I mean, this is the kind of Dota that I've been expecting so far, and they are playing so fast, minimal mistakes. They translate their laning phase win into something. They're actually taking towers. They're taking fights that lead into objectives. They're being decisive. They're setting traps, like the one at top. When 33 went for the bounty rune, their spellcasting is very good. I mean, all around, there is a good reason why they're up 10K.
The fighting, farming aspect that they're going for, it's like we saw what that looks like when it's just bad in the first series, I thought, where it felt like the cores just weren't on the same page and who wants to fight and who wants to farm. They're split up in that idea. This is Sirius. They are all on the same game plan, which is let Sylar fight as much as possible, threaten 2 different objectives at once, make Ninjas and Pyjamas choose.
Yeah, it's really that choice because as a pro player, I think you never really want to be put in that position. It's like, do I defend this or do I defend this? It's constantly deciding between the two.
These 4-man smoke up, joining Silers. They just hit that tier 2 mid. As the smoke is going to pop, they know that the Treant Protector is close. They're going to pop the dust thinking that he's actually farther up here, but instead he's going to be able to blink in and find Saksa. I'm not sure. I mean, honestly, I don't know what Saksa could really do in that area. There's no way Nip can fight right now.
Yeah.
Oh, man, look at this. He finds an invis rune. Immediately runs up to top lane, finds Ace. Now the whole team is running at him. These pickoffs just never end. Give him the finger of death damage, too.
Yeah,
Oof.
they are everywhere on the map at once right now. It is so hard for an IP to find any space right now. They're getting routed around the map, too. Wherever they show on the map, that's a kill. And they're getting core kills. There's now an Aghanim Scepter on this Lion.
Yeah, they're running around killing Shadow Shamans and Treant Protectors and maybe the occasional Brew. Like, okay, but you'd at least still have Troll Farm. Ace has been picked off so many times.
I mean, Ace is like 7,000 net worth behind this Naga almost.
He's 0-5-2.
It's how this game is. To be fair to him, this is how this game is going to look when your team can't fight 5-on-5.
Yeah.
Like, once NIP figured out that they can't fight, it was like, retreat. People will die pushing out the lanes, but...
Why couldn't they fight? Did Fada not have a good enough game?
I mean, look at Sirius' start. I think it was just way too good to begin with. Plus, our heroes are just... Again, I think this is the best Batrider game I've seen in a really long time. And Tsunami pointed it out, too. He's like, this is a very good Batrider game. And in July, there's nothing to stop him. Which feels amazing, right? As a Batrider player, it's usually you have to do these like calculations in your head. You're like, how the hell am I going to get my ulti off and actually bring somebody back? In this game, it's very easy, and so many of his heroes can follow up. And if he ever gets gone on and counter-initiated, and too many heroes rush forward, then you have Sleep to disengage for your Batrider, and you can target the back line of NIP. There's just too many things right now for NIP to have to deal with, and this Batrider now has a BKB. He's barely behind this Ember Spirit and farm. They almost own all 3 of the top net worths. There's a Scotty completed on this Naga Siren.
I feel like the Abaddon Naga Siren bat is a lot like how we saw Abaddon OD in the previous patch.
Yeah.
Where this double save mechanism allows these this offlaner hero, whatever it is, to just play ultra aggressive.
We were talking about it last game, how nobody on Windstrike, their cores were carrying around dust. Like Sylar, he dropped his Wraith Band. He's like, screw it. Like, it's more important to potentially find.
Nope, and they do find him indeed. Peter Pan Dam, they are going to be able to get the chains out, but obviously their support is dead. 33 goes to the backline, he instantly gets hexed. He thought he was going to be able to get the clap into the Primal Split, and he's right. He does manage to get it off just in time. Go for ASD, perhaps. He does have the Aegis, though, so instead, maybe they want Sylar. He does have the Song of Siren. Pops it now. Get the reset. Sirius. Waiting for the last track to come back down to Earth and see if he can land the split Earth. He's going to go for Peter. Misses. A little bit late there on that one. Still looking to be able to run down these heroes as he has the Aegis and the Yule Scepter. A Bonic Shield out as well. There is going to be Ace turning and fighting. Sagar, silent. He's actually dead. He actually went too far, and Saksa caught him with a beautiful Shackles. ASD in his first life will manage to clean up at least the troll.
They need
but
to kill
he's
him
surrounded
again.
by so many heroes, and they've got too many disables. There's not much he can do here. He's just going to get chain stunned up. Sirius losing their first fight of the game when they had an 11,000 net worth lead.
And it all comes down to the fact that NIP were able to get the jump onto that Lion to start with. Look at him. He cast like, he wasn't able to cast really anything. And on top of that, when they did use the Sleep to disengage, he actually messed up the stun. So they just caught the Brewmaster Brewling.
Also, was Treant Protector really the hero they wanted to go for anyway?
Yeah, he just used buyback, reset things. I mean, so finally a successful fight. It does move the needle 2,000 gold, which tells you how far behind they were.
Yeah.
So we finally see it. That is the first uptick that we get in the entirety of the game.
It has been Team Sirius all the way. They had a 20,000 experience lead as well. That could be halved by the end of this run upwards. Is Nipper going to continue to farm out the map, take some more towers?
I mean, this BKB pickup by Fada is huge. There's not a whole lot unless he gets hexed to start the fight.
Yeah.
He's going to do a lot in these engagements. Plus, I really like the build that he's going for in general. He's going to run in.
They caught Firefly. Now he does have borrowed time, but Jiang'an got a little bit too close as well. Fortunately, there is going to be one save. They thought about going for the Song of Siren, decide better, because they have the lasso on Fada. They need to be able to control him up. Don't let him get off the BK. They burned away his man, and now he's dead. Ace, he's also going to be caught here. BKB, Battle Trance, he just goes for it, but no one he can really hit that he can bring down quickly. As you can see, he goes for the Naga Siren at one point, but
that's 3 dead now.
3 dead, 2 of them with no buyback. Sirius, they may have lost the fight, but they bounce back fast and can now get a lane of barracks or perhaps at least a tier 3 out of this.
And that comes down to Fada making that aggressive maneuver onto the Lion. Didn't pop the BKB, so Lion just got a free Hex off onto him. They changed that very well.
Yeah, seriously, that's a situation where you just need to play it safe and commit.
It's either you use the BKB in that situation or don't go in at all.
Yeah.
So now the advantage that they garnered off of that is now going to go away. And IP, they don't have buybacks.
Okay, I thought, you know, 1 lane of racks back up, but Sirius actually take it so quickly. They've already taken the melee barracks, go for the tier 3 at bottom lane, and there's still 5 more seconds for the troll. And I think they need the tree in this fight as well, and that's 20 seconds.
If they didn't buy back for the mid racks, it means they didn't have it, right?
Yeah.
And so Sirius is like, this is free. They're going to back up, get the shrine, continue to control the map. And this was one of the cleaner games of Dota that I've seen played so far. Aside from that mid engagement, where they whiffed it a little bit.
Dropped the ball in the re-engagement off of the song.
Yeah.
And this is, they've been winning fights nonstop. They've been able to go for later game BKBs, which if the game wasn't already secure by you getting 2 lanes of racks, now 10-second BKB on both ASD and the Naga Siren, I don't know what Nip does. I mean, there goes like all the damage coming out from Fada.
I will say, I'm sure a lot of people will flame Ace for this game because they'll just baseline read his score. But I genuinely just think they got outdrafted.
I mean, there was just, nobody was making plays on the side at Nip. And if nobody's making plays and Nip's a good team, then something was just wrong. And I feel like a lot of it, like the Treant Protector got hard countered. That is a lasso on illusion. In July, getting baited.
Oh no, they all got baited.
Oh, they certainly did.
Disaster.
And it doesn't even matter. Seriously, like, well, we just blew 2 ultimates on an illusion. Let's go high ground anyway. In fact, let's even split up to a point where Siler's hitting the bottom lane while we hit the top lane.
This is how far ahead they feel they are. And they would be entirely correct, Cap.
They certainly are.
They're saying just walk into the pit again. This is the smarter maneuver for them to make.
Take this shrine away so they have better control the Roshan pit, which Rosh could be up in 1 minute's time.
Radiant's top shrine has fallen.
And they're going to go for the YOLO smoke to that area. I think they realize it's really their only play left. Is they're going to make the move on the Bad Rider, who instantly pops his BKB, not playing around at all.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
The main reason he doesn't re-engage there, no ulti.
Yeah.
And top is being hit anyways, so they know they're smoked. Might as well wait it out. Ace is still smoked up. And Firefly, the heroes that are the tankiest, still in front right now. Sox are going to run in. Sylar spots them all.
Nip, I mean, I think they know they just had to get some sort of desperate, catch them off guard sort of play, the smoke in his smoke play. But Sirius, strong discipline, just maintaining the high ground, as you said, having their tankiest heroes in the front. And in July, now he can make his initiation with the lasso onto the Brewmaster, the Finger of Death going out, and Sylar with enough physical damage to finish him off. ASD controlled momentarily by Soxa, but quickly realizes he can't stick around. He may have gotten the Serpent Ward trap, but not even Ace can go for that one. 33 in the middle of everyone, does manage to get off his primal split, but ASD's back up to full health thanks to the Bloodstone. And Firefly, is that the target you can really go for? I hope not. They're trying to get Sylar right now with the Shackles. It's going to be interrupted by Jiang'an. They're going to go for that back line, see if he can finish off the line as well as in July. They do so with their double BKBs. They're doing a lot of damage right now. And Sylar's at half HP. The BKBs are going to wear out eventually. Needs to be able to get off that Song of Siren. They're controlling him up right now. Managed to get the Shackles. Just burst them down. They've almost got him. It looks like they do. He will fall. If Firefly just couldn't get there fast enough with the Aphotic Shield. In July, though, and ASD can combine forces just to be able to finish off the Nip. Nip They know how many buybacks they had to use for that. They used every single bit of their abilities and items to be able to get the one kill on the Naga Siren. That was important, but if everybody from Sirius buys back and goes it again, there's nothing that Nip can do to stop them from claiming Megas.
Yeah.
So they're going to be able to jump forward. Hex, Impale, Finger of Death, and Ember Spirit should die here. The damage overtime to Leshrac. And now let's catch the Troll as well, who doesn't have Battle Trance. Fortunately, there is going to be Peter bonking the Leshrac as well as the Bat Rider. Keep them from going onto the Troll, but there is still the buildings in trouble. And a 3 versus 5, that's Megas. And Nip, at this point, they may just be talking it out, looking to game 2, because I don't see much of a hope them coming back even before the Megas.
I mean, they're still playing it out, but they have to know the situation that they were in 10 minutes ago. Doesn't get any better at this point. Sirius, it looks like they're just going to group up and go for it again.
Blitz, you were watching the draft. Like, what do you feel like were the biggest missteps? For me, it's like I feel like the tree is not a first pick material. Or
Maybe.
at least Sirius had a really good answer to it.
I mean, Sirius did have a really good answer to it. The Abba, Bat plus Naga Siren, like all 3 of these heroes don't really mind.
Got the pick off, Finger of Death, and Fada.
No buyback now.
No buyback. Peter
Dead
does
as well.
have a buyback, but he is dead as well.
He's going to use it. They're going to go for one last engagement.
Ace
They're gonna
looking
wait for
at this,
Saksa.
not sure how to make his initiation. 33 does manage to get some disables out. They're going to go straight for Siler if possible. And Siler does get off his BKB. That means Saksa, his life is forfeit into the back line. They do have the Primal Split going for Zhang En right now and might be able to get that one kill on the support while Ace trying to go for Siler as best as he can, but he's getting kited around by these illusions. Burned out of mana, and the BKB wearing out means ASD is free to clean up that kill. GG is called. Team Sirius taking game 1 against one of the favorites here at StarLadder.
That was so well done by them. That was, honestly, I'm very impressed. I thought that was the cleanest game that was played so far at this tournament.
Agreed.
You had that like one hiccup, but even that I think was forgivable. It was like that Aegis trap. They thought the game was over. They thought NIP at that point was willing to roll over for them, and NIP, they had a really good fight, but they just weren't able to really execute because, I mean, nobody could really make plays for anybody.
Yeah.
Their laning phase didn't go well enough for that. When they finally did get back into the game, they got over-aggressive, trying to go for a lion kill. Just too many missteps.
30,000 hero damage in the end by the Ember Spirit, but it felt like they just never had enough to be able to commit and take any control of the game in the first 20 minutes. As you said, it just didn't really seem like anybody can make moves, and that just meant Ace's game 2-8-8, his final score. As you said, a lot of it's just because
I think the
nobody's making
situation
moves,
was just
nobody's
really hard
making
for him.
space.
Yeah, plus the Bat Rider, like normally nowadays when we see Bat Rider picked, there's always an Oracle, an Abba. There's some sort of like disable that just gets you out of it really quickly, and Bat Rider just feels useless. But in this game, he was so untouched. Did he die that game at all?
8-2 and 24.
8-2 and 24. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he
Pretty
did die
good.
that time. Maybe.
Yeah. Pretty good score for In July as he managed to help lead Team Sirius to the victory, but it was a very strong last pick, as both you and Tsunami reiterated over and over again. The first pick from Ninjas and Pyjamas, maybe they have to rethink it, as the Train Protector seemed well answered by Team Sirius. More info, though. Always got to go back to the old panel, smart guys, figure out what Nip does next to change this series.
In esports, we are still at the beginning, and giving context to data with super complex technology and stats and insights can really help doing that.